Having moved to a cooler climate in Eugene, I'd originally considered renting an Airbnb for a few weeks so I could have a solid place to call home. My time in Redding, however, had taught me a lesson. If you're using Airbnbs for an extended period of time, like for a multi-month road trip, the cost of lodging can become expensive very quickly. If I were to have my own place for, say, $70 a night, that would mean over $2,000 per month out of pocket. I could get a cheaper price if I rented a private room in a house, like how I did in Redding, but the lack of privacy and the annoying rules on when you can come and go create more problems than they solve. If you can sleep in the back of your car and you don't mind the lack of real amenities, then you can save yourself thousands of dollars by sacking up and sleeping in your car at night. You will still need a place to shower each day, but that's where gyms come in. A little pro tip: if you want a relatively inexpensive gym with showers, lots of locations, and 24/7 operating hours, Anytime Fitness is hands down the gym of choice for your road trip. I thought I might be able to get along with my 24-hour fitness membership, but they just don't have enough locations. If you have a good co-working spot, then that'll feel like more of a home base than anything. Plus, if you're like me, you didn't go on your road trip to hang out in an apartment all day. You went on it to get outside of your comfort zone. So skip the Airbnb and save some money, and put it towards some fun experiences on your adventure. If you're looking for a spot to park your car, I highly recommend checking out the public parks and community and recreation centers in your area. Some don't allow overnight parking, but some do, and you might be lucky enough to find one with a public bathroom as well. I was lucky that downtown Eugene had plenty of parking space near my co-working spot, although its proximity to train tracks could be an issue if you weren't used to it. Sometimes the trains honk their loud horns, and that can be an issue. Sure enough, there's the sound of the train. Looking online for solid areas to hike in Southern Oregon yielded more results than I could have ever imagined. I've always wanted to see Crater Lake, and saw that there were a ton of waterfalls in the area. This seemed like a slam dunk. Spend the weekend exploring Oregon's most famous natural attraction, and possibly check out Oregon's second tallest waterfall. So I headed southeast to Salt Creek Falls, and slept at the trailhead, excited to check it out in the morning. Alright, so it's Saturday, and we're planning on going to Crater Lake today. But I noticed on the way to Crater Lake that there are some waterfalls in the area, so last night I decided to drive out really late to a place called Salt Creek Falls, which is about an hour to the southeast of Eugene, and still about another hour or so away from Crater Lake. It's supposed to be the second highest falls, I believe, in Oregon. Right now I'm in the parking lot, which is really close to the lookout area, so the plan is for me to take a look at the falls from the lookout area, and then later I'm going to be heading down a 1-mile trail that goes down to the base of the falls. Now this might be a little bit tricky because apparently part of that trail is washed out, so for me to get all the way to the base of the falls I might have to try to get through a little bit of a dicey area, but I'm going to be taking my hiking poles, my hiking shoes, so I'll be prepared for it, but it will really depend on how difficult or how dangerous it is to get past that part. I really want to get to the base of the falls because then I can actually have the water falling on me and I can get some better shots. So we'll see when we get down there.
Wow, look at that. Holy moly. That's where we're going to be going down.
Boy, if I wasn't feeling nervous from the pictures before, I was definitely feeling nervous on the way down. The water is falling from so high up that you have to imagine if you go directly underneath it, it could probably knock you out. And since I was by myself, that would be a very bad idea. The spray was getting all over everything, making the trail hazardously slippery.
Oh my god.
Once you're down to the base of the waterfall, it's very chaotic, with the water spraying up into your face and making everything really windy. Nevertheless, I didn't come this far just to back down. Sometimes you just gotta take the plunge.
Once you're out, it's not as cold anymore. Gotta make sure I don't fall.
What a great way to start off the day. Well, that was definitely exhilarating. I'm definitely glad that I stopped at Salt Creek Falls, but now I have a reservation at Crater Lake and I'm supposed to meet Mari there. So I have to head a little bit southeast, I think about an hour or so, just to get to Crater Lake. And I'm really excited to see what it's like there. The drive from Salt Creek Falls to Crater Lake National Park was a short one. Well, at least short distance-wise. Apparently the park only has 2 entrances, and it seemed like half the darn state was trying to get in to see the landmark.
Howdy.
Shortly after entering the park, I drove up the lip of the volcano, and I was greeted with a phenomenal view of the crater.
First view of Crater Lake.
Excited. The crater formed when the volcano, Mount Mazama, erupted some 7,000 years ago, taking much of the top with it. Rain and snow eventually filled up the crater, making Crater Lake one of the cleanest and deepest lakes in existence. The volcano didn't go completely dormant though, and later seepage of lava into the crater has created an island within the lake, aptly named Wizard Hat Island after its shape. The ongoing pandemic meant that lots of people were visiting the national park to escape their quarantine living conditions. And it also meant that tours down into the actual lake, as well as many of the other services, were shut down. Well, maybe not all services. The park's sheriffs apparently weren't taking any time off. Oops. I continued exploring the park, with its beautiful views of the lake, and checked out some of the information about the park's geology. I had originally expected to meet a friend at Crater Lake, but she wasn't able to make it. No problem though, it just meant that I had my cabin all to myself. I started feeling a little under the weather due to altitude sickness, so I decided to head back to the cabin early to try to catch the sun rising over the lake in the morning. Alright, so it's 6:10 a.m. right now. I'm sure my hair probably looks terrible, but I woke up and it's almost sunrise. So I'm going to try to make it to sunrise over Crater Lake. It should be a fantastic view. Hopefully I can get some good pictures. Yeah, I don't know if I'm quite going to make it. The sun is about to rise. I don't know if you can tell. So I have to be careful because I got a ticket yesterday for going a little bit over the speed limit in Crater Lake, National Park. So I don't want to get another ticket. So either I make it or I don't. Even if I don't quite get it right as the sun's coming over, I'm sure I'll still be able to get some good shots. So we'll see. Alright, so I was able to check out early, which is great because it means that I'll be able to hike Mount Scott before it gets too warm. Mount Scott is, I believe the trail is about 4.2 miles there and back. So what is that, 2.1 miles each way. It's Rated as 4.8 on all trails, which is pretty darn high. You're supposed to be able to get a really good view of the surrounding area and Crater Lake from there. So I'm hoping that I'm able to get up there before it gets too warm. So it's time to start setting out and get hiking. My camera strap right here. My GoPro ready to go. I assume we're going to be going along that ridge.
The hike wasn't too much trouble, and I even got to see a good view of Mount Shasta off in the distance. Again, it's really impressive how prominent this mountain is on the horizon, even from far away.
Someone's used to getting food. Alright, so I want to show you guys something real quick here. See how clear it is over here on the north side? If we start aiming ourselves toward California, look at all this smoke. Those are from the wildfires in California. I was facing south toward California. Kind of messes up the view. Sucks. This pretty much happens every year though.
I was still able to snap a solid shot of me with Crater Lake in the background, and I could check Mount Scott and Crater Lake off the list. So now I'm off to Redding because I have to catch a flight tomorrow morning, and I have to register my car with the California DMV. There's a lot of smoke in that area, in Northern California in general. So I'm going to drive in that direction, but I don't want to spend too much time in Redding. So most likely I'm going to try to find some waterfalls in the Redding area, and there's a ton. All right, so I'm about an hour to the southwest of Crater Lake. It's an area called Pearsony Falls. We're gonna be doing the trail there. I think it's only about, let's see here, just a little over a mile. It should be pretty nice. The waterfall isn't a huge waterfall. It's a smaller one, but it still looks pretty nice. And I got a few hours to kill still, so I'm probably gonna bring my hammock, lay in it, and do some reading. This might be the most ridiculous hammock spot I've ever done. Got boulders and rivers and kind of a waterfall. Woo! I'm gonna take this one all in and do some reading. I'll dip in the water at some point, but I definitely think I found my spot for the day. Woo! Chilly. Without a doubt, Crater Lake had been an action-packed weekend. I had to head back home for some personal errands, but I was already planning my next Oregon adventure.